I don't know how to say this, but things got pretty out of hand with the OBS and its new rebuild, as you can see behind me. Um, I just wanted to clean up the frame a little bit, and then before you know, it's completely stripped. This thing sounds so good. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. So this is the frame that we had at the side of the shop for quite a while, and we're finally gonna get started on this project. It's obviously gonna be running kind of side and side with the rebuild of my other trucks, but what this is, and it's actually gonna tie in with at least the dually. So we're gonna use this frame to prototype an entirely new air ride kit that I'm super excited to come out with, to bring out. So what it's gonna be, it's gonna be a full air ride, front and rear, but this is gonna be more geared towards actual, like a workhorse, a tow vehicle, you know, heavy hauling, all that stuff. And obviously, since it's already nice and stripped, this is the perfect frame to do a complete scan so that we can have it for future development of other parts and whatnot. So yeah, like I said, complete front and rear air ride, big bags, lots of capability, super beefy. This particular frame belongs to a buddy of mine, and we're gonna be doing an F450 swap on this thing too. We actually have his axle over here, so we're gonna be using this axle, which is also his, for the swap. I also want to make it to where we can use a regular, you know, dually F350 or even F250 axle for this kit. Really excited to have something nice and clean like this to do a 3D scan, because usually when we're doing these scans, we're having to work, you know, within the truck and all that, and it's really hard to get a nice clean scan. But with this, we should hopefully be able to scan all the way around most of the frame and have a nice solid closed scan. Now, because this thing's so freaking big, I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna have to do multiple scans, but you know, that's fine as long as we can have that nice clean scan to go off of. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, get our 3D scanner, get this thing scanned, get it back off the lift, probably moved over there. Hopefully, finally get the OBS, the single cab OBS in here, and take all of the suspension back off. All right, guys, so we are using the Einstar Vega, which is, I freaking love this 3D scanner. I've only really done 3 types of 3D scanning. I first got into it with my phone, using my phone, and that was a pain in the butt. I was never really able to get good results with it. I've heard people that have. I just personally never did get good results. A little bit after that, Einstar, who makes this scanner, came out with a more affordable solution to 3D scanning. Well, Shining 3D, Einstar is the model, I guess. Shining 3D came with the Einstar, which was a pretty cool scanner because for its price range, I think I bought it under $1,000. Was a really good, high quality scanner that, in my opinion, was way better than using like a cell phone. So I bought that thing, but that was also kind of a pain in the butt to use. I mean, at least compared to this, because we had to use it with the computer. It always had to be attached to a computer, and like, it's not like it could be any computer. Like, it had to be a pretty hefty computer, like a pretty powerful computer. I actually bought a computer just for it that, you know, could be able to actually run it. So on top of spending I want to say that I got it for like $700, the first Einstar scanner that I bought, but I paid I want to say like maybe over $3,000 for the computer that I was using, and it worked good. Like, don't get me wrong, it was way better than using the phone. Like, it actually gave really high quality, good scans. It was a little bit more finicky, I guess we could say, right? And I never had like a super great time using it. It was like, again, I kind of dreaded having to take it out. But then a few months after that, Shining 3D actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to try out this 3D scanner. And I said, heck yeah, I would love to try it out. So they sent me out this 3D scanner, which this particular model is the Shining 3D Einstar Vega. And this thing is amazing. I Love this scanner. This scanner essentially mixes the simplicity of like using your phone as a 3D scanner, but with the power and the capability of like the original Einstar, and then some, like a lot more. The cool thing about this scanner is that obviously it's, as you can see, completely wireless. No wires to attach to the computer. It's not just that you can do the 3D scan, you can actually completely process it on this thing. And in my experience, it actually does it a lot better than if I was actually using the computer on the original Einstar, I guess I should add. But it just froze on me. That has never happened before. I think it got a little shy. It froze on me. What the hell? Let me see what I can do about that, because that has never happened. Just as I was filming a video praising this thing. You know, go figure. So let me see what the hell is going on. Okay, so we got it back, but unfortunately it corrupted that last file. Also, if you're wondering about that red light, it's just telling me that I gotta calibrate it. I somehow misplaced the little tool they use to calibrate this thing, so I'm gonna have to either find it or unfortunately buy a new one. Hopefully I don't think it'll be that expensive. It's just a little plastic piece, but you know how things are. I'm gonna see if I can actually scan this whole frame, and I'll update you guys. Okay guys, and just like that, we have a scan that we can use to build all of our parts or test all of our parts on. Again, I freaking love this scanner. It really has made it way easier to make good quality parts at a way faster rate pace that we were able to before. Now we're gonna pull this thing off the lift. Again, like I said, I think it's gonna go there for a little bit because I wanna use it to test fit some of the parts that we're gonna be building. Okay, so we've got this thing strapped on the forklift and on this cart. So I'm gonna see if I can move this thing by myself. I might still try and add a clamp to the back of this, but we'll see. I feel like it'll be all right. Let's try that first. This thing is ready to go. Wish me luck, and hopefully that end doesn't fall, because there's a pretty decent possibility that that might happen. So we got it to move one way. Now we gotta try and push it over. I gotta lie, that was way easier than I was expecting. Got one end down with my jacks. Gonna do the same thing with the other end, and we're good. Alrighty guys, so here's the deal. We've got the frame where we wanna have it for now, for at least the next few days. So now what I wanna do is see if I can get the white crew cab in the shop, because I really wanna start working on it. And here's the deal. I was going back and forward on what I wanted to do with that truck, with this truck. So for those of you that haven't seen it, this is my crew cab shore bed F250. And this thing is minty, like it is beautiful. It has a couple of rough spots on the paint right here, and worst of all, on the roof. So I really want to get this thing running so that we can take care of those problems before they get any worse. And the thing that is exactly sure on what I wanted to do with this truck, and I'll talk about that more if I can get it inside the shop. So let's try and get this thing running. In the last video, Justin and I got it moving enough to where I was able to park it back here under its own power. So I'm gonna see if I can get it under its own power back in the shop. Now it does have a pretty bad battery, so I'm gonna see if I can get it jump started with my jump pack. If I can get this thing running, one of the first things I'm gonna do is get rid of this stupid grill. Freaking hate these grills. We're entirely missing a battery. Fuck. I think the battery to this thing is in this truck, so let me get the battery out of this truck and put it in this truck. Never mind. This one also doesn't have a battery. Okay, so I have a few dead batteries, as you might remember from one of my last videos. So I grabbed the one that was the least dead and see if it's gonna help us. Okay, so we got the battery on. I'm gonna go ahead and just hook up the jump starter because I know it's gonna need it, and I don't want to waste any battery without it. All right, so it's good to go, and then might as well give it a little help. See if that does anything. Dang it. I'm gonna pull off the air box. So I feel like that's the first clue as to what could be wrong with this thing. This thing sounds so good. Pretty sure I've told you guys before, but I love a 460. Good old big block. Also, man, it's gotta get cold. I do not enjoy this heat. Okay guys, so we have the truck successfully back in the shop. And here's kind of what I'm thinking, what I want to do. Well, I guess let me start by what I wanted to do with this truck. And I mean, it's still not too late. So let me know what you guys think. The plan for this truck is going to be to make it a really, really nice daily slash kind of camping truck. And by camping truck, I don't mean anything extreme. Think more like overlanding, as cringy as that is. I have a son that you guys have seen on the channel quite a bit that's growing super fast. I think it's really important that I start, you know, going on adventures with him and with my beautiful wife that I love. So that's kind of what this truck is going to turn into. So nothing crazy, like I said. We are going to do an axle swap, but it's probably going to get like a 35, maybe a 37, but probably just a 35, just because I want it to be a really nice, easy, daily drivable sort of truck. So the plan to go along with that was going to be, for a daily drivable, really nice truck, was going to be to swap in a Mercedes diesel engine. Now, for those of you that know, if you know, you know, you're probably thinking of the OM 606, which I thought about that. Amazing engine. It's basically like if 12-valve Cummins and a 2JC had a baby, would have been the OM 606. Freaking amazing engine. But that's not really what I'm thinking for this. What I was thinking was its newer, younger sibling, the OM 648. If you're wondering why I rather go with that engine, honestly, it's a little bit more modern. It's a little bit bigger, 3.2 instead of a 3.0, and they're slightly easier to obtain than an OM 606 and cheaper. Behind that, I was gonna pair it with an 8 HP out of like a newer Ram or something like that. The only thing that is honestly really keeping me from going with that combo is the fact that there's no adapter plate for that yet. And I talked to a few of the companies that make those adapter plates, and basically no one is even really thinking about making that adapter plate, which I think is a loss, because I think most people in the off-road world would love that combination, because with the, like say the Eco Diesel 8 HP, it's basically the easiest way to get a true four-wheel drive transfer case, at least stateside. You can actually, from the research that I was doing, it's actually pretty easy to find a manual shift transfer case that you could run behind that transmission. But again, like I said, no one's really making an adapter plate for that yet. Now, what I just found out and what made me change and scratch that plan basically completely is that they just came out with the standalone controller for the 10R80s, and there's already adapter plates to go from the 460 to a 6R80, which is the same bell housing as the 10R80s. Now the new plan is going to be to keep the 460 as long as we can make it run properly, and put a 10R80 behind this thing, which again, from the research that I've been doing, we should be able to also run a manual transfer case. I'll get more into that once I'm actually into it, if I get to that point, but I'm pretty excited. I mean, how cool is it gonna be having a 10-speed transmission behind that old dinosaur? So part of the reason why I wanna do that is I wanna see how the driving characteristics of this engine and this truck change with that newer transmission, because I think that, in my opinion, one of the biggest factors to how your truck drives is your transmission, right? That's what takes the power from your engine down to your axles. So if you have a nice, smooth, fast shifting transmission, I think it'll make a big difference. We're gonna try and do that. But the first thing that I gotta do is try and get this thing running right. And I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that it's way out of time. Like, I'm pretty sure when Justin and I, and when I say Justin and I, mostly Justin because he did all the work, I'm pretty sure that we did that. Distributor is clogged way off. I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to be this flat part. It's supposed to be facing straight out. So I'm gonna go ahead, do that. And then another thing that I want to do is I actually want to test ChatGPT and see how much it can help me in getting this truck diagnosed and getting it running. So yeah, let's try it out. Okay guys, so update time. I got the truck running, and again, it was idling super rough and everything, so I've been messing with it through downloading a couple of firing order and spark plug wiring order diagrams. I found out that number 1 and number 8 were mismatched. So I fixed that, and I think that actually fixed the idling problem. Now the other problem that I'm still having is that the truck will only run with the map sensor, mass sensor disconnected. Mass sensor, right? Yeah, mass sensor disconnected. And from the last time that we did this video, somebody told me that it might be the wiring. So I'm gonna be checking the wiring on this thing to make sure that that's fine, and kind of diving deeper into that to see what that could be. I had a problem where my key wouldn't turn anymore, so I had to figure that out. And it ended up being just wiggling and jiggling it. I'm gonna have to fix the steering column on this truck. It's another thing that, let's turn this off. It's another thing that, like, it's super sloppy, and I think that's what's causing the problem. Like, it might have just done it again. That's another thing that we're gonna have to fix. But at least I got that fixed where we could keep trying it. But now what I want to ask of you guys is your opinion. Do you guys think that it's as cool as I think it is to keep the 460 and do a 10R80? Because in my mind, imagine the 460 with a 10R80 behind it, or 10 speed behind it. Like, I think that'd be super cool, but I could be totally wrong. So should I do that, or should I really pursue trying to do an OM648 with an 8 HP behind it? Let me know what you guys think I should try and do with this truck. Either way, I really want to get this engine running. I think it's really close to being there. I think it's something very simple that's wrong with this thing. So I'm gonna keep chipping away. I'm gonna give myself 2 days to figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I gotta keep moving forward. I really gotta get the single cab on the lift. Again guys, kind of a random video, so if you are watching all the way through right now, thank you so much for your support. Leave a like, leave any comments that you might have down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.